All right, you guys, good morning. I'm so excited for this team call. I had an idea to just reach out to, the number one spot, and she said yes. So lucky us that she agreed, and she was able to open up her schedule for a little bit this morning. I know she's got a baby and a super full plate. So I'm going to kind of jump right in because we have a ton of questions, and I'm sure if you guys have questions, everybody's muted, but there's that chat feature. So you can always pop a question into the chat feature. We're going to try to get to everything. I filtered through a lot of questions this morning because a lot of you had similar questions, which were all really good. So I tried to kind of condense and make sure we hit some main points. So I see you, Ashlie. So you guys know who Ashlie Molstad is. She's incredible. And what I really like the most about her, not only is she just authentically herself, which I think is really important in kind of a climate where there's a lot of network marketing companies going on, a lot of people who are doing the copy and paste method, and that it shows in success or lack thereof in the way those people operate their business. And I just love that she kind of does her thing. It obviously got well noticed by some awesome platforms that featured her, and she's gotten her posts shared, and that's really, really cool. What can happen if you just kind of share yourself. I'm sure she'll share a little bit about that and probably tell us that she was just doing her thing and it got picked up and went kind of viral. So how cool. So Ashlie Molstad has been a coach. I'll let her tell you exactly for how long, but she's a 3-time elite coach. She's a superstar diamond. I know that she just went superstar during Summit, which is really, really cool, and what a special time for that to happen. She's a 2018 top coach. She's currently ranked number 1. Yay. I'm so excited to see somebody new and fresh in that number 1 spot. And I know you've worked your butt off for that, Ashlie. Not that we don't love Melanie, we do, but it's just really cool to see somebody up there, So an SC10 legend. So that means 24 consecutive months at least at Success Club 10 and above. Way above, because you guys have seen her Success Club reports that she posts. And most importantly, she's a wife and mama to baby Revy. So we're so honored and excited to have you here, Ashlie. And I'm going to let you kind of jump in and tell your story, give us a little bit of background. Maybe we can start with where you were before Beachbody, a little bit of your coaching story, and kind of what clicked over for you just in these last couple of years. And I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Okay. Hi, guys. When I do feel like I'm busy because I'm trying to navigate this new mom life, and it's way more than I everyone says oh, it's crazy, you're going to be busy. And I'm like, okay. And then they come and you're like, holy shit, I actually am really freaking busy. So when Steph asks, I get a lot of coaches that reach out and ask me to do calls, and I usually decline all of them, but there's some people that I just really respect in the network, and I feel that I've learned a lot from. And so whenever somebody like that, like Steph or somebody reaches out, I always want to do my best to give back because I've gotten so much from you, Steph, already. So super happy to be here. And yeah, I can share some of my story. So I found Beachbody in 2012. Just my sister had done a challenge group with Danielle Natoni, was her coach. So she did a challenge group. She did Insanity, and she had amazing results. And if you follow me at all, I love, my family likes to drink. We are partiers. So when Jess had amazing results, I asked her oh, did you totally change your diet and all these things? And she's like, no, all I did was I did Insanity, I drank Shakeology, and I traded my beer out for vodka water. And I'm like, oh, so you were still having fun and living life? Cool, then I'm in, because I wanted to do something to get in shape for my wedding, but I didn't want to miss out on the celebrations and stuff. So I joined her group. She was running a challenge group, joined her group, and I just fell in love with I was always a group fitness junkie, so I like not having to think about what I'm going to do for my workout or how many reps or, whatever. I just get to turn my brain off. But I hated that group fitness was on their schedule, whatever the gym schedule was. And I love that this kind of brought group fitness into my home, and I decided when class was in session. So I first fell in love with that. And then this was where you had to buy like programs instead of, now we get all of them. But Asylum 1, Insanity, the Asylum 1 and Asylum 2 were coming out. And I wasn't sold on Shakeology yet, but I'm a bargain shopper. And I knew I was going to be buying more programs. I was also drinking Energy and Endurance at the time, which was like the before Energize. So I just was a coach. After I finished my challenge group, I'm going to keep using Beachbody stuff. So I did that. That was at the end of 2000. I've been a coach since 2012. 2013, the one thing that happened for me that totally changed, like in the beginning, that totally changed things was my coach, my sister-in-law page. And I had no interest at all in working the business ever, but she added me in the team page. And so I was like loving the fitness community, but then I was in this other community where I was just kind of like snooping behind the scenes, and it was about business. And then I was seeing people talking about the money that they were making and what they were doing. And it was only just because they loved the products. And I'm like, well, I love the products. So I opened up my Foodie Girl Fitness page as a way to kind of hold myself accountable, I guess. The truth is I was reading a lot of blogs at the time, and I wanted to start a blog, but I didn't want the commitment and I didn't want to have to figure it out. So I just started a Facebook page, and I just started posting as if I was a blog. And the blog that I was reading was they basically posted their workouts, and then 3 times a day, the one that I love the most, peanut butter fingers, with 3 times a day was what they were eating. And I found that really helpful at the time because I was bouncing from diet to diet to diet, always trying to find what my solution was. So that's how I started treating my Facebook page. I just started posting a lot, and kind of 2013 was the year that I just started putting my world out there, but I didn't invite people that I knew to my page. Some of you guys probably relate to that. I didn't want any of my friends or family or anybody seeing it. I was super insecure. And I've always had insecurity, and then bouts with depression. And at the end of 2013, I was having some medical issues, and I was working at my dream job, where I thought it would be my whole life, was at Nike. And but I worked with a group of women who were really awful to me, super catty, made fun of me to my face, behind my back, excluded me from all the things. And so for a depressed person who was also dealing with some medical issues and stuff, it sent me into a pretty deep downward spiral where I was feeling suicidal for about 6 months in 2013. And that's the only bright spot for me really was Beachbody. So I still did my workouts, and I would check into the group, and I still sometimes posted online and stuff, but I thought every day about how I was going to do it and what that would look like and how people would be affected by it. And I thought my husband would be better off without me. The only reason I didn't was because I didn't know. I thought everybody in the world was better off without me. The world was better off without me except my dad. I didn't think my dad could. I didn't want to put my dad through that. So that's why I'm here still, is because of him. And then I cleared up my medical issues. I got a new job at Nike, so I was in a different group. And in the beginning of 2014 is when I decided, when I was in the darkest of the dark, Beachbody was the only light that I could see. And it was like a speck. It wasn't like this big ray of sunshine for me, but it was the only light I could really see. And so in 2014, when I got healthy again and was in a different environment, I just decided I was making some money by just sharing. And I just decided what would happen if you actually tried it, this thing? What would happen if you went all in? And so in January 2014, that's when I decided to just really go all in with this. And, then of course I've hit Success Club every month since then. And I've just been setting goals and then going after the goals. Top coach was never on my goal board ever. I had top 10 on there actually for 3 years in a row. But that's the thing about goals, is sometimes you put them on there and you're like, oh, here's a dream board, but then you don't work to make it happen. So I wasn't putting the hours to get to top 10. And I remember, it's easy for people to compare. Some of you are probably how does she get those numbers? I wish I could pull those numbers. Let me tell you how I get those numbers. I work on average 12 hours a day, and I have an assistant that works 30 to 40 hours a week. My husband also works. So like there are days where I don't work at all, but like you can make massive success in this business, but you got to work massive amounts. And I remember listening to a call. I mean, it's maybe not 12 hours a day. It's probably 8 to 12 hours a day, but it's a lot. I remember listening to a call with Bonnie Engel because she joined after me and then like skyrocketed up. She had way more success, you know, joined after me and had more success than I had ever experienced. She was higher ranking. I think she got to like 8-star diamond in like 2 years or something. And then was in the top 10. And I watched a training call with her and she's like, oh yeah, I work like 80 to 90 hours a week. And I'm like, oh, so I want Bonnie's life. I want those accolades. I want that kind of, but I'm not putting in that kind of work. I was working 20 hours a week, right? So, and then once the photo went viral, and that was fine, 20 hours a week. I mean, I got to elite. I got to, I think, 6-star diamond while still working. I was an elite coach, 6-star diamond coach, 6-figure earner while I was still working my corporate job. Because that's another thing people do. Like, oh, if I just had more time, if once I quit my job, then this is going to explode. The whole once this happens then is false. Like that, if you don't, you know, there's so many teachers on my team and they were like, oh, I just, like in May, they're like, it's crazy right now. As soon as summer's out, then I'm really going to work. Where are those people now? They're not even like, they're like inactive. They're not even like doing anything because summer's here, summer came and went, and like summer's busy too. There's never a season. Like if you just say like, oh, once my kids are back in school, then I'll make it happen. Or like, once I leave my job, then I can make 6 figures. But like, that's not how it works. What you have, you work with what you have now. And you can be successful as long as you're like really diligent and, you know, intentional with your time. So I was working maybe 20 to 30 hours a week and got to, while I was working full time, got to 6-star, I think it was 6-star diamond, elite coach, 6-figure earner. So, and then when I went viral, that's when like things amped up for me because what a lot of people don't know, and this was interesting because I just went on the top 10 trip with, you know, the other top 10 coaches, and someone asked me, like, walk me through step by step what that was like for you going viral. I want to know. And no one had ever asked me that before. And so when I told her that, they were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I had no idea that you were so like business minded about it. So I think I'm going to tell you guys what happened when I went viral, and then we'll go into Q&A. This is like a super long intro, but so I want to say this because I think people think like, oh, I just need a viral post and then that will make my business. I don't actually think me having a viral post at all, like it pisses me off when Beachbody's like, oh, this is our viral girl. Like, F you. I showed up every single day for 3 years before I went viral. And then I put a plan in place and showed up every single day after. So what happened when I went viral was, the post went up. It was a Friday afternoon, 2:30. And you guys, you probably know, like, you don't put your good content up on Friday afternoon at 2:30 because like people are at happy hour already, you know? So I had no intent, like I just needed to get a post up. I didn't know that I was going to do anything. And then it started like by that night, it had like 500,000 views. I was at like game night with my friends by like 7 o'clock. So 5 hours later, I was like 500,000 views, my most viewed post. And then like Sunday night and Monday is when things like exploded. And it ended up being shared everywhere. I mean, I was on the front page of Yahoo. I was on Yahoo's email. I was in People magazine interviewed me. I was on CNN. That's weird. I was on some news, fitness magazines, Cosmopolitan. Ashton Kutcher shared me. It was crazy. And I would say probably on my page, I can see that 26 million saw it, but Ashton Kutcher didn't share from there. And like Yahoo didn't share from there. So I don't know how many actual millions of people saw it, but you can imagine the amount of messages that I got. And they weren't about Beachbody, of course. They're just like about the post, really. But I was so nervous. Now I have all these new eyes on me. And my page, I had 25,000 likes at the time, and it went to like 75,000 in that week, basically. And I was so nervous that it was going to be a flash in the pan, that I was just going to go viral and nothing was going to happen. And I didn't want that. But my best friend is amazing and brilliant. And, you know, we celebrated, but then I went to her house and she pulled out a whiteboard and she's like, okay, end goal. What do you want? And I like gave her my end goal, and we worked backwards, and she helped me come up with a business plan of like, so we started this self-love soldier movement. I started featuring people because it was, so obviously I hit on a nerve somewhere. So then I just started systematically working it. And I had to be really careful. Like, I was tempted with all those new likes, like, oh, don't talk about Beachbody too much. Don't swear. You don't want to turn these people off. And I had to really like check myself and be like, no, if you have 50,000 new eyes on your stuff, a lot of them are not your tribe. They're not your people. So you got to keep showing up. I got to keep inviting to Beachbody. I got to keep providing value, keep dropping, my swear words or whatever, and get rid of some of the fluff. Because I think people are like, I need more likes. I need more likes. It's like, no, you need more fans. You don't need more followers. You need fans, people that love you, know you, like they care about you. They don't just follow you. And so that's what I did. And then that's why I started working so long. Like both John and I were working 12-hour days trying to get through the messages and just trying to, keep up momentum. But I think the key was I kept providing value, and then I made sure people knew that I could help them. So I don't think you need a viral post to be successful. I was a 2-time top coach before, or a 2-time elite coach before. I went viral. I think that did shift things in my business, but I also think it's because I laid out a plan. So people, I wanted to make sure I say that because I've been hearing a lot more people ask me like, well, how do I get a viral post? Or I just need a viral post to feel like to get success. But there's been actually a ton of Beachbody coaches who have had viral posts who haven't done anything with it. So you have to be business smart about, your brand, build your brand, but then also make sure that people know you've got a business and you can help them. So, that was an 18-minute intro. It was a long one.
No, it was perfect. And you touched on so many points that I'm so glad you talked about. I mean, first of all, you're exactly right. And I'm glad you said what you just said about a lot of coaches have gone viral and haven't done anything about it. And in fact, I've seen, I don't even remember names of people who had videos and like really funny, interesting Facebook like pages, and I don't even know if they're coaches anymore. So they had this incredible platform that they probably worked pretty hard to build and started getting attention there, but it's what you do with it. So it's kind of like this catch-22, like I want more likes, I want more followers, but are you gonna do the work when you have that platform to use? So I'm really glad that you touched on that because it's true and you have to be smart about it. And I just think too, what you said about wanting what somebody has, but not being willing to do the work or like really find out what they're doing, ask those smart questions, like, which is a perfect segue for our first question. But, it's true. Like, it's so easy to look at the top 10, whatever your goal is, whether it's like top 10 or top 50 or to be an elite coach and to just say, I want to be 5-star elite. Okay. Are you reverse engineering that goal? Are you truly looking at the work that's going to go into that? Because that's awesome. And like, I can speak for all of us on here. If we've got coaches coming to us saying, I have this goal, we're going to be like, yes, do that, whatever that is that you want. But you have to look at what it's going to take for you to get there, how long it's going to take, what activities you need to be doing, and be really smart about that and be realistic and realize that it's not going to be easy. I'm sure that Ashlie, you've had hard days in there. Like, yes, you have an incredibly strong, huge business with people coming to you, and we'll get to that too. I'm sure people come to you and like knock down your door trying to get into your groups. But that doesn't mean that every single day is easy and that there's not work involved still in what she's doing. So I'm so glad that we can roll right into our questions. And like I said, you guys, if you have questions as we go, if like something pops into your head and gets your wheels turning, pop it in the chat box. And we'll see if we can get to everything. So I'm glad you touched on your work days, like how many hours you work, because that was one of the questions. So I kind of edited that a little bit. So when you say you work, let's say an 8 to 12 hour day, what activities fill those hours? Like what does a typical work day look like for you? I know that's a really loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a typical work day anymore. Obviously, there's the non-negotiables that we all have to do every day, workout, shake, personal development, posting on social media, having conversations with people. So those are when I was working corporate, what I'm doing, like always, those are my non-negotiables every day. But then a lot lately, it's been like I'm running a few training groups right now. I do one-on-one calls with, I onboard a lot of coaches, but I make them go through my university first before I get on the phone with them one-on-one. So then I, schedule those. I have my group running. I try to go live in my boot camp, my team page. And I think it's a lot of like responding back. I also still, my number one place I spend my time, I think, is probably on social media, like responding back to people and engaging with people. Because I do have a huge team, but I know I just always need to be like, I know people think that our job is like, let's get everybody to buy Beachbody. We want everybody. And I feel like Carl probably wants everybody in the world to do Beachbody. But my thought is like, I know Beachbody's not for everybody. It's just not. There's people that like have to go to a gym. They have to run. They love bar, like whatever. I know Beachbody's not for everybody. I just know it was the thing that fixed everything for me. It was my solution. So I believe in it so much that I don't need to I'm not in the business of convincing people that like Beachbody is their solution. I just think it's my job to make sure I tell everybody on the planet about it. So I spend a lot of time still on social media doing, I still monitor my Instagram inbox. So I try to message back and forth there, comment back to everybody. So I spend a lot of time there, and then a lot of time, I guess it's probably 50-50, building my team. It was at the beginning of this year, 80% my business, 20% team. And then I watched a call with Mel, and I was like, why is my team not like, why is nothing happening? I was a 6-star for like 3 years. And I was like, why is and last year, you guys, I had a massive, I have higher Success Club numbers this year, but I had over 200 every month last year. I was recruiting a lot, but I had 20, if those of you that know the Elite Tracker, I had 25 leadership development points, and that was me advancing my husband to team leader. So I didn't advance I had nobody advance on my team, and I was like, what is wrong? What is going on? And I was doing 80% my business, 20% team. And then I watched a call with Melanie Mitchell, and she does 80% team, 20% is her business, her personal. And I was like, oh, well, I'm super out of alignment with that. Like, she works so much more with her team. And so now I've tried to like shift it, and it's probably 50-50, but I'm still so focused on like, I got to share this with everybody. I got to talk to everybody on the planet about this. And even if it's not just about Beachbody, I really want to encourage people. Like when I run a sneak peek group, I try to do that once a week or once a month. But sometimes it's once every 2 months, but I basically treat that group as personal development for them, because I just want, my goal is like everybody on the planet should be living their best life. And that's, Beachbody is not, if we're really honest, Beachbody is not the solution that's going to make everybody live their best life. And I always give the example, I had a girl who joined, who was amazing, hitting Success Club, got to Diamond in like 2 or 3 months or something, was killing it. I was super excited. She decided to quit her job and like do Beachbody, but then she realized Beachbody wasn't for her. But she got confidence to leave her job because of Beachbody. And so what she did instead was she opened her own gym. So I lost a Diamond, I lost someone in the Success Club, whatever, but she's living her best life now. Yeah. And that's a win. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a typical day, but I've been just trying to do more with my team, running more training groups. I have text strands now with people, so that actually takes up a lot of my time. So I'll see like who is showing up, like who's hitting Success Club, who's signing coaches, and I'll put them in like a text strand pod. So right now I think I have 65 unread texts on my phone, because it's like I have a few of them, and that's kind of chaos. But having those touch points with them and getting them in a little like success pod has been really helpful, because then they push each other, and then I can give coaching to like a group of people at one time, but they also feel special that like I singled them out and said like, oh my gosh, you're killing it. The rest of you are killing it. Let's like work together to this goal. So that's why I advanced 2 diamonds last year. And so far this year, I think I've advanced 16 or something like that. And it's really because of those success pods. So I've just been trying to shift more into doing team stuff, but I'm still a terrible leader and trying to figure it out. It doesn't come natural to me. So I still spend a lot of time on my personal social media too.
Well, first of all, I don't think you're a terrible leader, but I think that what you mean probably is like you're constantly self-reflecting. And I think that that's like a really big part of leadership and leadership just like for reference, you guys, starts at any level. Like it doesn't matter what rank you are. I feel like it's a state of mind, but I think the common theme of all the leaders within Beachbody that I've ever heard is like, oh yeah, well, you know, I still could like be better at this. And it's just like people constantly kind of checking themselves and having that humility. And I love that. I think it's really important that there's always room to improve. Like even you're hearing from the top coach in the network right now, and she's like, well, I could be better at this, but you know, and it's making those adjustments along the way. And side note, I hope that everyone's taking notes. Like for real, if you have your notepad app open right now, if you're using pen and paper, I heard a long, long time ago, and it stuck with me, that smart people take notes. So just if you haven't been, start now. Okay, so I love that, Ashlie, and we're going to jump to another great question. Number 2, and I'm trying to kind of keep them in order so we have a little bit of a flow here. Has your invite process changed over the years? Like obviously you said, you know, your post that blew up, I'm not going to use the word viral because I don't want to like, you know, undermine that, but your business shifted a little bit. So do most of your coaches and challengers come to you, or are you still doing like calls to actions? You kind of have like a system. I doubt you're doing like one-on-one invites, but how has that shifted over time for you?
Yeah. So in the beginning, you know, I had to do behind the scenes, those direct messages to people. I would say about sometime last year, I stopped doing any of those messages because I can't really keep up with the amount that I get as it is. So my groups fill with, you know, I do call to action posts. So I try to do those at least once a week, where I'm doing like a public invite, and I try to plant seeds all the time on my Instagram stories of like, I'll go on a rant or something and be like, I know I talk about this so much deeper in my boot camp, but like, right? So I'm like always planting those seeds about my boot camp, and just trying to get people like curious about what it is and want to do it. So I'm doing a lot of inviting like that, but I don't do one-on-one anymore. Of course, in the beginning, that's what I had to do. I did those. I did like public invites in the beginning, but they didn't, nobody came. So then I would make like a post like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed with how many of you want to join my group. Give me a minute. I'm working slowly to get back to you. And like, I would have no messages, you know? And so it feels a little bit like a lie, but I heard a thing, hold on. I heard someone say, faith it till you make it. And you can faith it like into believing that it's going to happen. And so I know people, I've been in sales before, and people like FOMO, like, you know, you're going to miss out. Everybody's doing this. Like I sold books door to door one summer, and I remember part of the script was like, I just met with like Susie and Pam and whatever your neighbors, and they all bought, and they said I should talk to you. So then this mom's like, oh my gosh, my friends are buying, my neighbors are buying. So that's what I started doing, like with my posts, like, oh yeah, you know, you guys I'm so excited to kick off all the amazing ladies who are going to join my group. And like, I would have nobody signed up. So in the beginning, you know, I had to do a lot of one-on-one behind the scenes inviting. And I'm very sensitive to sales. I hate salespeople. Like I hate going into a grocery store or a department store and they're like, anything I can help you with? I'm like, please leave me alone. Like, I just don't want anybody talking to me, you know? Talking to me is fine, but not like if I feel like there's any kind of sales involved. So I'm very sensitive to it, and I try to never, ever sell to people. So when I, you know, and you guys probably know this, but when I would do the conversations in the beginning, I would never bring up Beachbody initially. I wasn't reaching out to close them. I was just reaching out to open the door. And then eventually maybe it would lead to Beachbody. But my philosophy was like, if I start this conversation and just show genuine interest in their life, and I'm still posting like a boss and like sharing all the things that are going great in my life and what's working and stuff, maybe eventually they'll get curious. Or maybe the next time I can go back, and because I've established this rapport already, I can be more direct with them and invite them to my group. So that's what I did in the beginning. It would just take a lot longer. You know, I probably had, 10 messages back and forth before I would invite somebody, because I just wanted to talk to them, and I just wanted to be a conversation expert, because I would never want someone showing up in my inbox with an ulterior motive. And I also don't like somebody that, you guys have all had this, I'm sure, someone that works for another network marketing company, and they either, it's direct and they're like, hey, I think you'd really love these essential oils or something. You're like, what makes you think that I would really love those? Maybe I would, but what makes you think that? Because this to me looks like a canned message that you send to everybody. Not personal. I don't think you think I would actually really love these. I think you think I want to sell you some essential oils, right? Or whatever. Like, I just have people, LuLaRoe, or like any of the network marketing companies do that. And so I hated that. It's icky. Or if someone would send me a message like, hey girl, haven't talked to you in a while, what's up? And I'm like, go to my page and see what's up and like show some interest in me. And then if I go to their page, I'm like, oh, you're selling stuff. Oh, okay. So that's why you're messaging me. Because it's not hard for you to do a little research and see like what is going on in my world. Right? And so I never wanted to show up in somebody's inbox like that. Like, I didn't want them to feel like they were a number or like there was an ulterior motive. I would just be like, oh my gosh, that sweater you're wearing, adorable. Where did you get it? Or whatever, right? Your kids are so cute. How old are they? That food looks delicious. Do you have a recipe I can use? Like, just whatever. I just would like go to their page and see what was going on. And if they didn't really have a lot, I'd just be like, I just have to send you a message and let you know. I love seeing your post on my newsfeed. It's so positive, and like, or you're funny, or your kids are cute, like whatever. If they didn't have a lot going on, but I just never wanted to show up in somebody's inbox with them thinking, ugh, she's just trying to sell me something. And so that's, you know, I was very slow in the beginning, and I thought I would never outsource messages, but I don't. If any of you have messaged me, I didn't reply. I have now, my assistant does all my inbox, unless it's a coaching question, she'll save it for me and I'll reply. But I never thought I would outsource it, but now that's all outsourced, and now it's system. So she just has all of my scripts, and now I give all the information back on the initial script. And then we were still getting too many messages. So in my link tree on Instagram now, and actually I added it to my Facebook page, it's an application, and I list the prices on the application because I figured I'd weed out some people that aren't willing to make the investment. So I say like $240 and you get all of this. Do you want this package or this pack? You know? And so we get fewer in requests now and stuff. But yeah, things have shifted a lot. But I hate telling people that I'm 100% attraction marketing now, because then people are like, oh, she's 100% attraction marketing. I want to do attraction marketing. And it's like, but I didn't do that for 4 years. So you can't just go straight to attraction marketing. Like, you can't, like, I think people want to do it because it's uncomfortable to send messages, and like it takes a lot more work on your end to go search people out and send the message and do the work, but that's what you have to do. So yes, I'm attraction marketing now, but I wasn't for the first 4 years in the business.
Yeah, and I love that too. And I will say, and I've said this a couple of times, you guys, that I feel like social media today is in a place where starting out as a coach is like the best time. I don't know if that makes sense, but when I was first a coach, and Ashlie, like we have a similar timeline, 2012, it was kind of like all Facebook, and you kind of just like hoped you could put up a transformation picture and people would come and like join your challenge group. And that did work to a certain extent, but there was definitely some like inviting and some work. But the way, if you guys are, I hope everybody listening is using Instagram stories, but the way stories is you can see the people who are plugging into your stories and watching. Like you can see those watchers, the consistent watchers. Those top like 10, 20, 50 people are the people that you should be interested in. So Ashlie was just talking about like it's a combo of being interesting and also being interested. Like you can't just sit back and like throw up a post and hope that all the people are just going to come. Like that was good. All the people are going to come now. It just doesn't always work like that. And we have to be interested. And I think that like, don't we all just kind of want friends? Like I want people to join my team who I have sort of a relationship with. I mean, people do come and they're like, hey, I found your page, I want to, whatever. But for the most part, yeah, it's those people who you've spent the time building those relationships with. You can reach out to your watchers on stories. This is like the best time ever in social media to be a coach, because there's just so many tools that you can use. And so go to those people's pages and do what Ashlie just suggested, like comment on their pictures, be interested in what's going on in their life without necessarily that intention and pressure of trying to make a sale. But all the time, even when you feel like you're having the best month ever, still do that, because next month you're going to want those people to be coming to you. So it's always building that pipeline of like building those relationships. Then we all know it takes a few months for those people to catch on to what you're doing. And maybe then after that 10th message, like Ashlie said, you're finally, you know, putting in that invite, inviting them to your group, whatever. But it's just being a combo of interesting and interested, I think, is so important. And a lot of coaches forget that. A lot of people in network marketing forget that is part of our power hour or our work hours. Yeah. Thank you, Ashlie. I love that. Okay. So are we on to number 3? So I think you kind of touched on this a little bit, but did the type of people you attracted to your business over time get stronger? Like at this stage of your business, are you still kind of working through coaches who say that they're interested, but then maybe there's a lot of hand-holding going on, or you've probably built up a really great system so that they've got the training and they're kind of going right through, but maybe you can speak to that a little bit, how that's changed.
Yeah, it was super interesting, again, on the top 10 trip to like just learn that like there's no one right way to do things. So I 100% lead with the discount always. I like never lead with the business. The only time I kind of lead with the business is in my sneak peek groups. But even then I still am like, I just want to get people plugged into a boot camp to have them see results. And I think that's because that's how I started. But Ruth and Holly, they like everyone they recruit is a business builder. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that's working for them. Holly, I don't know how many more, but Holly Hillier, you guys, she has developed in July 25 diamonds this year already. Like homegirl knows what she's doing, but she always talks about it. She said she always talks about it on social media, but I never do. So not that I'm embarrassed of Beachbody or anything. I just feel like, again, I think it goes back to like my history with depression and my journey that I needed to work on me first. And and so I attract a lot of people that have some, insecure, and my brand now is self-love and stuff. So I attract a lot of people with insecurities who aren't always ready to jump into coaching. Like they need to work on themselves first. So I don't get like a lot of success starters. I get people that like join and then they get the discount for a few months. And then my job, I think, is to give them an amazing challenge group experience and hopefully make them Beachbody believers. And then, 3 months after they've joined me or something, they have the confidence to now start sharing. So I just, there's not a right or wrong way to do it, but I forgot what the exact question was.
Just kind of how, no, that's perfect. Just like how the person the people you're attracting, that made it change.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed. I think I've changed a lot. So I have better systems to onboard them and better systems to like touch base and see what they want and what kind of coach they need me to be for them. If they're in it for the discount, if they want to build the business. But I don't feel like things have changed a lot. Because I do still recruit like probably 100 new coaches a month, and a lot of them, they're not huge business builders who are killing it. I have a bunch of people who joined this year who have advanced to diamond, but I think that's a shift in me that I've made in my systems and in those success pods and stuff. Because last year we couldn't figure out why I was signing 50 to 100 new coaches a month, and we couldn't figure out what I was talking with Doug Moss, like what was going wrong. He's like, out of every 10 coaches, there should be 1 diamond. Like, that's just by the numbers there should. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. And I think it's just my systems shifted. And so they've probably always been there. It's just this year I've changed how I'm helping them. But I'm not a handholder coach. So out of the 100 coaches I recruit a month, there are probably a lot more people that have the capability to be successful, but if I had more time or attention or desire to give them more time and attention, I'm pretty hands off. I'm like, get your shit done. If you want to do this, like I have these systems in place, and if you want my time, you have to earn my time. And like, I'm not here to convince people that Beachbody is for everybody. I'm not here to drag people who aren't interested in like putting in a little work. So, I don't think the people that I've attracted has changed much. I just think I have changed.
Yes, I love that. And we have kind of all different levels of coaches listening. So I wanted to point out, you guys, that like clearly it's been years that Ashley's been a coach. And so she's at a place in her business where she has the number of people coming into her business, but also the time in the business where she's been like, this is what works for me and this is what doesn't work for me. So she's created systems for herself that allow for like her own business style to come through. But I just want to point out, you guys, as a newer coach, you don't need to create systems. Like you don't need to dream up trainings and like host, I don't even know, like whatever. Like it should be almost 100%. I know you talked about this a little bit, Ashlie. It's like now you're kind of 50-50. Like 50% is like bringing new people in and 50% is, I hate the term management, but the, team management, team working with your team, hosting team calls, like doing Emerald groups, like things like that. But when you're a new coach, it's like 100% bringing new people in. And then as your team sort of grows, it's sort of like 80% bringing new people in and 20% like working with your people. But I mean, you should never, ever, the number one mistake that I've seen is people who get to, let's say, diamond, and they're like, cool, I'm diamond. Like, I don't need to go find new people because I've got my team. And it's like 100% working with your coaches. And that's like number one detrimental mistake that I see. It's the focus should almost always be on finding new people. And because your team is going to do what your team's going to do, you're going to be there, you're going to help. But when I was a new coach, and I can speak for Ashlie too, when she was a new coach, there was no coach basics. There were no team trainings. If anything, it was so minimal, like first you go Emerald and then you go Diamond. But there was not like anything that was elaborately like laid out. This is kind of a newer thing over the last few years. So there wasn't anything. Our coaches sponsored us and it was like sink or swim, figure it out. So I just think that that's probably what got a lot of us to where we are, is it was just like, we figured it out and we put in the work and the time, and there's nothing fancy to that. So yeah, I know that's like a seriously loaded question. Like, what do you do in your work day? It's kind of a little bit of everything. So I think you touched a little bit on how your onboarding process has changed too. So I'm going to leave that one out, you guys, because it sounds like there's a system in place. Everybody gets the same training. Sounds like your challengers start as discount coaches / challengers. They're going through, they're getting results. And you're like, hey, did you know that you can like use your results to build an income in a business, which I think is super smart, because then these people have their own results. And I think that's super smart. So how do you help your diamond become Emerald and then diamond? Like, I know I've heard Emily Favre is one of your coaches who's amazing. I follow both of you. And she's talked about how you guys make going Emerald fun. And it's like the thing to do. So maybe you can speak to that just a little bit.
Yeah. The amount of time, just to kind of also talk about the amount of time that most of you are wasting on trying to convince people. Like, how many of you are like, gosh, I don't know why, I have like 4 coaches, but they're all discount, they don't want to work, how do I make them work the business? It's like, you're wasting time thinking about it like that. Like, go find more people. And that's why I did it for too long, but that's why I'm so focused on always, because I heard a long time ago, the people that got you to where you are aren't going to be the people that get you to where you're going. So I'm constantly trying to find new people, like, getting that out there. So like, don't even spend one single second on like, if someone cancels or they go inactive or they said they were going to work and then they're not working, like, it's a waste of your energy to be discouraged and frustrated and like be trying to drag them. Maybe like they'll eventually get a spark and want to work. That's happened a bunch, but the better thing is to invest your energy in finding new people. Because there's a bunch of rock stars out there that nobody's found yet and they belong on your team. So, oh my gosh, I keep forgetting the questions.
I love that you said that too, because it's true. It's like, I always say, like, my next, like, Nikki Whiting and my next Jen Richardson is still out there. Like, I haven't even met them yet. My next diamond coach is like, I haven't even met them yet, and that's so exciting. Like, how is that not so exciting? That makes me want to go work my ass off today, So I just think that's really motivating.
The Emerald thing. How to
yes.
make Emerald sexy.
Yeah.
So I think we overcomplicate things a lot. And Emily has helped me so much this year grow as a leader. And she actually had the idea to run an Emerald in 24-hour call. So because I think we just make things really hard. Like, actually, Diamond isn't hard either. It's 12 coaches. Like, Emerald is 2 people, and they're like, it's your husband and your neighbor, or your mom and your sister. You're like, it's just so easy. But I feel like we overcomplicate things so much. And the same with Success Club. Like, Success Club is 3 freaking people. It's 3 humans. Like, if you are doing your job and you're talking to enough people, that should be nothing. But we make it seem like so hard. And then I think we build this up in our minds to be difficult. And I don't know if you guys believe in The Secret, but I do big time. So if you act like, if you're thinking Success Club's hard and I don't know how I'm going to hit it every month, or if you're thinking Emerald is hard, I don't know how I'm going to find 2 coaches, or Diamond is hard, I don't know how I'm going to get emeralds or whatever, then that's what you're going to continue to get. You're going to continue to struggle to get people to enroll on your team, or to people to join your groups, But if you're just like, oh no, this is totally possible, then it starts to become more possible. Like, you start to manifest that. So when people join now, if they want to become, if they're interested in working the business, perfect. So we give them the New Coach University, tell them that we'll set up the call, our one-on-one after they graduate the university. And in that first exchange, I plant the seed about personal development. So your first goal as a new coach is to help enroll 3 other people sign up the same way that you did. How does that sound to you? Are you in? So I plant that seed right away about Success Club. And then we have some calls. So every 2 weeks we host a Emerald push call, basically, and just explain what Emerald is, what the benefits are of it, and why you want to hit it. And let me see if I shared this, but let me see if I'll pull up the slide. So I have a different assistant. She does my graphics, but let me pull this up and I'll share my screen so that you can see what I talk about on the Emerald call. Okay, so if this loads, but it's super quick. It's like a 15-20 minute call. And I just go over, so let me see. So what it means, you plus 2, and they have to be active. So then I tell them, if you're married, 100% your first one should be your spouse, or your second one should be your spouse. Either way, your spouse needs to be at the top of your weak leg. And then, and that's what we teach. That's not, again, there's some people that advocate they need to be on your strong leg, whatever. It doesn't, that's what we teach, but it doesn't matter. So it's your spouse and your mom, your spouse and your neighbor, your best friend and your sister, like whoever, coworkers, whatever. But it's 2 people. You can find 2 people. And we do this call usually Tuesday night. So we explain this. We explain the benefits. So you get, your first rank, brings momentum. You get a public shout out. We talk a little bit on the team cycle bonus and how you take your business from retail to residual, and explain that a little bit. Explain the customer leads, how they're basically going to get free customers and free money by hitting Success Club and going Emerald. Lay out what that might look like. This is like 1 month in January. These are the leads that you can get. And it was $357 in free commission. So give them, because if they're going to enroll their spouse, they're like, I can't afford this. But if they get to Emerald and they hit Success Club 10 that month, then the next month they're going to get free customers. And that can equate to, this is no guarantee, but that can equate to $357, which includes the spouse's sign up. And then this is a really key thing why we tell them they need to enroll their spouse. But this is John's business center. So I explained that, like, I enrolled him, and his first 4 or 5 weeks or whatever in the business, he made $0. So I wasn't getting a lot on that, but I just had him as a place saver at the top of one of my legs, because I knew long-term I was going to be here 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, a millionaire. And this was something that I learned from Janelle Summers. She was like, she said she signed Matt, her husband, like farther in her downline. She's like, can you imagine if I would have signed him up here? Like, how much money I left on the table because I signed him like, later. So after I watched that call, I signed John up. We couldn't afford it. It went on a credit card. But now this was of this year. So January, the 5 weeks of this year, he's what was that? Almost $7,000 in basically free money, because I don't work John's business center. And I explain a little bit about that. And then we give them the takeaway of who are your 2. And your homework assignment is to email your coach, whoever invited you to the call, who your 2 people are that you're going to sign up. And we're like, how many people are on here? Okay, there's 87 people on the call. There should be 87 new Emerald coaches on Thursday. We can't wait, whatever. And just really simplify it for them. And then we also have our coaches, if they're pushing for Diamond, to get their coaches on this call so that they become Emerald, and help that coach go Diamond. But this is what we do for that. And then for Diamond, I also feel like I was making Diamond really hard for years. So then, of course, that's the message I passed on to people. And I mean, you guys, I was 6-star Diamond for 3 years. And last year, to get elite, I had two girls go Diamond in my second business center, but they've both fallen off since. But I opened my third business center. So I got to 7-star last year because of my third business center. And so I wasn't really advancing Diamonds, but this year is totally different because I've just decided, like, Diamond is not hard. It is 12 people. I had Sarah Molnar on a call for us, and she was like, Diamond is your high school diploma. Like, anybody can get it. That's just where things start. That's not the end all be all. When you guys go Diamond, nothing changes. You make $18 instead of $14. Okay. But like $4 more on a cycle, you're not going to be cycling a ton. You get a public shout out. Like, Diamond isn't the end goal. That's just like a stepping stone. And so we just talk about, like, this is easy. This is 12 coaches. What I used to do was say it's 8 coaches and one of them needs to be an Emerald. So you need to help your team you need to help 2 coaches become Emerald, or what your spouse is going to be one, but then the other one. And then we just shifted this year where it's like the difference between 8 and 12 coaches is 4 people. So if you're solid, you want to grow this business, you can control both of those. Now, long term, you don't want to do that, but you can make your mom and your spouse an Emerald and just put 2 coaches under them, and there's your 12 coaches. Now you're a Diamond, and now what's next, right? And then and the thing about that is I was finding a lot of people were like, yeah, but then I feel like it's not as good. I wanted to do it without using my family. But it doesn't matter how you get there. What's awesome is that you got there, and that alone builds confidence. It really does. Like, you might think like, oh, this is kind of like, it's not a real Diamond because I built it. It's like, no, that's for sure. It's smart. I remember when I made John a team leader last year, I had to have my dad order a challenge pack through him because he had all the other requirements, but, or had to have my dad order a challenge pack through my sister who's under John. And I remember asking Danielle, like, I just feel shady about this because I feel like I'm making John a team leader. And she's like, no, you're being business smart. Yeah. You are having your dad order a challenge pack under your sister as a coach because I needed another person to have a Success Club point. He had all that, he had the money and the volume, and then he had his other coaches that had Success Club. And she's like, that's 25 leadership development points. That's smart. So it's not like we rob ourselves of things because we think it's not like valid or good, but like just get to that step. And then, you're not going to work those business centers forever, but like start building that momentum and build that confidence that you can get things done. And people are watching you. There are so many people that are watching you. They're going to be like, oh, she just got shouted out for some other rank. Well, I don't know what this thing is, but she's shouted out again. She seems really happy. She's getting like fit. So people are watching, and then they're going to want to join, but don't think about getting yourself there as like a gross thing. I know that's what Lindsay Matway did. That's how Lindsay went Diamond, and now the most successful coach in Beachbody history. It was her spouse and her brother, and she was bankrupt and couldn't afford it. But I don't look at Lindsay now. I'm like, oh, you manufactured your success at all, So anyway, that's how we make Emerald easy and then Diamond easy, because they are easy. We just stop thinking about them as being hard.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Thank you for saying all that. Okay.
Hold on. Brianna said, what about trying to go Emerald when it doesn't make financial sense to sign up your spouse or family members? The problem is it does make financial sense. Did you just see that free money? John's now capping out. Well, not capping out now. John's making like $2,200 a week. So how it works is John's at the top of my week on my right leg. But then when I signed my second business center, I put sponsored by me under John's inside leg. This is kind of confusing, but now he has 2 legs that are building volume and he's cycling. It's free money. So really the truth is it doesn't make financial sense not to sign them up if you're going to be here long term. And that's what you have to think is big picture long term, not what is going to work for me right now, but like, what do I want to happen 5 years from now? If you believe that you're going to be a Beachbody coach 5 years from now, then you have to start acting like a successful coach now. You can't be like it. you need to sign your spouse up, and then if it doesn't make financial sense, hit Success Club, become an Emerald, then hit Success Club 10 this month, help 5 people. Next month, you get 8 to 12 free customers. You'll earn commission on their first purchase. And you saw that in 1 month, $357 in free commission. Boom, that's how you afford it. Like, just work to afford it. You can do this. I'm telling you, and my energizer is kicking in, and I also get very passionate, but you need to stop thinking short term, every one of you. Stop thinking the world I'm living in today. Who are you going to be 5 years from now? And start acting from that person. Because if you don't do that, if you don't do future thinking, then you're going to stay stuck.
I just want to like bow down. Like that was like, yes, every word of that. And it literally translates, I can't even talk right now, into every part of our life. Like even people who you're trying to convince to buy a challenge pack who tell you that they can't afford it, they can't afford not to. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't afford to go Emerald. I can't afford to. And if you don't have a spouse, that's a separate conversation. Like obviously your mom, then your dad, your sister, like some family member who you can have some control over their business center, but we're using spouse because it's probably the most like universal.
Real quick, you don't have to worry about taxes yet. Cause some people are like, I'm not married. I don't want to screw my mom or my sister, but if they earn less than 600, then it won't pay taxes. So then that's fine. Don't be worried about that.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's something that you can use like long-term, like, yes. So yes, it's just shifting that mindset, you guys. It's just from like that I can't afford it mindset to I can't afford not to. And yeah, leadership starts at Diamond, like that. You're stepping into leadership. That's like your stepping stone into the next. And then it's like 2-star. Then you want to go for 2-star. Like we don't stop. And I see so many people stop there because they think like, okay, the money's going to just like rain down and fall from the sky now. I remember thinking that too. And then there was like a kind of a lag time between myself hitting Diamond and like my paychecks actually growing because I had to like look at it from a different perspective. So anyway, I mean, this was gold, Ashlie. We have like 2 minutes left of the hour, and I don't want to keep you any longer, especially because your Energize is kicking in. I hope you guys like got everything from this. I hope you wrote everything down. This is obviously was recorded. She even shared her slides for like going Emerald. Like you guys, if we're smart coaches, we're implementing. I always say at least one thing, take something today from your notes and put it into action immediately. Maybe you have a list of 100 ideas, put one thing into play today, do something with this call, and like, let's tag Ashlie, tell her how thankful we are. One thing that you're doing today to put into action. This is absolute gold. Everyone's just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thankful for your time, Ashlie. I don't know how I'm going to repay this favor, but I'm going to sure try. So you guys, that was amazing, right? Thank you so much, Ashlie. Okay, you guys, we're going to wrap. Have a great day, and we'll see you all soon. Bye, guys. Thank you again, Ashlie.
Yep. Bye.